Right, so just making a new machine, and it's going to output fairly big items today. So just do the initial block out, extra detail, unwrap it, do the UV mapping, then I've got to do some technical stuff, but it'll all be in the stream. Any questions, feel free to ask me. But in general, I'm just going to crack on. I might tell you what I'm doing in a minute, but for now, I'm just going to go for it. When I make my models, it's always good. I have the snap on to begin with, just so things are a bit more aligned. It's much nicer to just start like this before it starts getting way too precise. I can also switch the view and do it in smaller increments if I'm in orthographic mode, which is quite handy instead of the big snap down. Gives you a more subtle angle. And on some of the machines now, I like to do a bit of an extension, just to not make them look so samey. Sometimes I'll have a little mess around for a bit. Before I do that, I need to just quickly do one more thing. Just going to double up on these. So I'm just intersecting at the moment, which is just a way of giving me more control over what I'm going to do on the next section of the model. So what I may do is get rid of that. No. I think I probably only want 2 for the minute. There we go. Alright. Cool. Because what I want to do is maintain this set of squares here. And when I use a certain system, if I add this without this intersection, it won't work. But anyway, boring stuff. Okay, so that can be the general gist. Do I make it a bit longer? No, I think that's okay for now. This is 3 meters. I've got it set to a 1 meter length. So 1, 2, 3. This is also what our game grid works on. So now I'm taking it off that snap. However, the vertical snap is still there. Don't want that high though. I want it probably around about that high. Cool. These are all the little maintenance hatches that I do. I'll try and make this a bit easier for you all to see. Grey's probably my favourite. Yeah, so I don't want it coming out that much. Yeah, the maintenance hatches add a nice little bit of definition to them, to the machines, and sometimes I'll pull them in like that. Take the snap off now. I pull them in like that, or or to take them out a little bit. Usually on the tops I pull them out because it looks like they're little extra bits of electronics that get to the machines. And then here I'll start to make the actually I'll leave that for a minute. I'm going to do one more on this. Cool. And if I want to, you can always do just make it a bit like that, but sometimes it doesn't work. A lot of the times with machines they are very blocky, so it's just about adding detail to that that design. So what I do now is I start to add the paneling on the side. I've just shift R and it repeats the exact dimensions that I just specified. So I can just add my panels now. Oh. So that's all the panels done for the sides. Sometimes I might do the top if it doesn't look too strange, but yeah, I'm not too happy with that. But what I do on the top pieces is I normally do a slight bevel. So then we get a nice gradient on those. Same for these as well. You can probably hear my neighbours there. That's not my family. Right, so those are beveled. So for this one I did want to have an input. I wanted to have something going into the machine in but two directions. That's 1 meter, 1 meter. Yeah, I think I'm going to do this. Delete these. Actually, I'm going to move them up. And now I'm thinking to myself, is there a better way? Because dragging these here will deform how it looks. It's all quite an intricate process. So I might try again on this. This will work better, I think. Move these out, because we still got our 1 meter there. Yeah, there we go. So still 1 meter. And then this, I believe, we can pull down. And I want to check it out here. I want a 5 there. And then I want to have another 5 here. That's a 6, I believe, but I think that's a 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Cool, those are the correct dimensions. What we do want is we do need our base to fit our belts. So all of the maths, you have to take into account all the math here. So it all fits properly when it goes in. So we've got 5 there, 5 more, put the snap on. 1 meter 9-ish. So I just want to take it down very slightly. There we go. Cool. So when that stands now, if I set its origins, center of mass volume 0, 0, 0, and then I'm gonna grab it all, move its origin. This small little dot here is the origin. And if I'm making this look easy, it's not. It's taken me several years to learn to get this far. So if you do want to get into 3D modeling, it's a long process and a lot of learning to have a full and complete understanding of how to do this. But it's definitely really handy when you finally get to learn it. I think maybe we extend this to 4. So now that's a 4 length machine. And again, now I'd need to reset its origins, because now we change the center of mass. When we place the product, or the machine, sorry, on the floor, our origin has to be bang in the middle, where that red line is and that green line is, so all of the snapping and the maths can work properly. Cool. One slight mistake, I seem to have accidentally deleted my my little extrusions. Not extrusions, intrusions, I guess. I'll just add those one more time. Blender's quite smart. I'm using an old version of Blender because I haven't had time to learn the new one. Oh, whoops. But I hear good things about the new one. Right, cool. Starting to take shape now. Cool, right there, all good. Okay, so now what I usually do is I'll then start to punch the panels in just a slight bit, so we get that definition, but we still got plenty of room inside. I can just do the same one here. Now that blending is what I want to do to all of them, I can just use the hotkeys. Blender's very hotkey heavy, it takes a long time to learn the hotkeys to make your modelling efficient, but when you learn them, boy oh boy, things get very quick. So you can understand why they did it. Oh, oops. And Blender is totally open source, free software. Everything in Gunsmith is made in Blender. It's a very powerful tool. It's extremely underrated in my opinion. And anyone looking to make an indie game, it's perfect if you're doing 3D. I have no idea what I'm gonna make. I know what it has to do, and then I'll balance how I want it to look and how big it should be roughly for the game. But but I had no idea I was going to make this 10 minutes ago. I've just made it out of nowhere basically, and then we just go from there. And as long as it fulfills what I need it to do, then I'm happy. And if it looks good in game, then perfect. The only tricky thing with Gunsmith is that because we process a lot of stuff through here, without doing a highly complex animation. For example, this is going to box items. We input here and we output on the other way. Now at the moment our game just sucks stuff in and spawns new stuff, and with all the time and money in the world, I'd love to be able to have an animation where it grabs the part, puts it into an empty box, then pushes the box out and seals the box. Because our game camera is here all the time, you barely ever see that. Sometimes you can pan the camera down and look through them, and I don't like that. I wish we could do something about that, but it's just it would just add so much time to the development, and it would just be really quite you know, a long time. And although it would look great, for now it just can't happen because we've got to get this done and working, and would it really add that much to the game? Probably not. It'd just be an eye candy thing really. So for now, the only thing that really lets this down is the fact that stuff goes in and comes straight out, and you don't really see the process happening inside. But in future, I'd like to hopefully do that when we've got maybe some more manpower to help out on the game. Right. Now I just want these to be one plane in here, so you see there are two at the moment because I was messing around. But when it comes to doing the materials, we'll also want to have that as just one plane, just so we can texture those correctly. Again, inside I like to keep it quite simple because all of these things they will come at a cost. Just need to do a bit of reconstruction here because it hasn't been picked up correctly, so I'm going to go into the actual points instead of the lines. I'm going to build a point so it knows exactly how I want this done, and then I'll get those points. It's called a vertex point, I believe. Vertex point. So now that's one rectangle, as before there's a tiny bit here that we needed to clear up because it's just unnecessary. It's just unnecessary to do the textures, and also having three things here is more calculation that's also unnecessary. So it's always good, especially in a game like ours where we're always dealing with a lot. We don't want things like that just soaking up memory and computational performance unnecessarily. And there we go. Right, so now instead of all those boxes in there, we just have the 1, 2, 3, 4, and so it's going to be easier to paint, and it's going to be easier to perform all its tasks that are necessary. Now I'm fairly happy with that model. The only thing is I wanted an input. I did, which may, yeah. So that input I'm going to put here, and I think we're going to extend this out a bit. So this is going to take on the kind of inspiration that we did with the Kevlar dispenser, which had a reel of material that was going into it, and although it takes a bit more dev time to do the reel, it was really cool and I loved it, so I want to do it again. So when I want to push something down the way it is at the moment, we want to use a thing called the normal instead of global positioning. So we could do it like this, pull that out, use this one. Then we can use this as our little entrance, make it slightly wider. Oh. Ooh, I have just smashed the key and changed the setting. Oh no. And that's how powerful Blender is. I'm not. Okay, because I don't know what one I've just done, I'm just going to restart and save my work before I. There we go. There we go, problem fixed. Right. Hello. I'm just going to read comments quickly. I'm just doing a thing called recalculating normals outside, as just checking that everything's facing outwards. Another technical thing, just to make sure we don't have any technical mistakes. By technical mistakes, what I mean is if the normal's not facing the right way, it will display your texture the wrong way. So you'll be thinking, oh, why can I not see this? Or it might look like a hole. It might look like a hole in the model, but it's just because this plane is facing the other way. So all these spiky points that are coming out are just showing that this is the direction the texture is facing. And if you did it the other way, they all start pointing inside. So we've inverted the texture, and which means it would never show up. It'd be an empty. The textures wouldn't show. If we were in a tunnel, it might be okay. Or if we were doing something like inside, maybe. I don't know. I've never used it. You always want to do outside. So now we know the display is okay. We can UV unwrap, get it ready for texturing, and that's where our second input is now. And we're on 572 first, faces 568, just over 1,200 triangles, which is fine, totally acceptable. All the technical's done. Our origin is also done, and that I believe would be ready for testing. I will just mass volume it one more time, and it pops straight back to where we were. So yeah, there's no adjustment needed on that. That rotation and origin is fine. And that should work in theory in game the minute we put it in. So I'll save that again. And now comes this slightly annoying process of unwrapping. And because unwrapping is, you can do this automatically, but unfortunately Blender and many other modeling programs don't know what you're doing exactly, so you need to guide it. And what I'm doing now is I'm just highlighting all the parts that I want to be separate parts of this image so they show up properly. And this is the map. I'm building the map now. And yeah, like I say, you can auto-generate a map, but it may not be exactly what you want. We're going for quite a custom thing. It doesn't know we're building a machine to go in a factory. It just knows it just knows the technical parameters of my model. So it will do a rough job of how we want it to display. But if you want a really nice model, then 9 times out of 10 you're going to have to manually do this, so you can define properly where you want that detail. And that is the top done, I believe. Oh no, it needs to do the inside of that. I'm gonna now, there's different ways to do this. So this is going to be I'm marking a seam, so now all of the red is where our map is. So it's getting there slowly but surely now, and more edges. And again, you can just do controls on this. Shortcut, sorry. So yeah, I don't want that line or that line, but now I've selected all of that. So Control E and then A, mark the seam. So as I say, this is quite a long process, but we're nearly there. Again, it's a bit easier now because I've done this a lot for a lot of machines in our game, so it becomes easier to make everything we need to make. Because I know after many years of doing this, almost you know how it's going to look when it shows up in the game as you're making it, so you can have that confidence that you can continue without having to take it in and test. And unfortunately that only comes with a lot of time, really, because I've spent months and years doing those tests. I know how it will look roughly in my head and how it will render. got to take into account all the technicalities of it and make sure that nothing is going to display incorrectly, and that's a whole nother art form in itself, which I will show you very shortly. I think we're getting there now. We're almost ready to unwrap. Just remember what I've said is I'm building the map. So the unwrapping process is that process of actually building that image that's going to display on your computer when we apply its texture. And I think for now that is done. Oh, whoops. I want some edges, mark those seams. Cool. Now I'm going to have a quick look around. I missed one there. I usually will check the base. That corner needs to be done. That corner needs to be done. Probably that one too. And then I'm just looking for everything, just making sure there's nothing there. Oh, and of course we need to do that because that is going to be quite an important part. Right. So now we're going to have a moving belt, which means that this model needs to have different materials assigned. So we can have our body material. We can then apply that. It's time to take mech cap off so we can see what's going on. So our body can be the grey or dark grey, and then we can add a new material, assign that, and that can be our belt, because we want moving belts now. At first we didn't have moving belts, so now we do. So we want to be able to interact with two materials there, and we need to do all that. So now we've got our model, it's unwrapped, our UVs are checked, our materials are done properly, our origin is set. We are ready to start texturing. And that is basically the 3D modeling part done. Usually what some people might do at this stage is take it into another program and do the super detailing, but I don't tend to do that anymore because the power of Substance Painter, you don't have to do that process in my opinion. Maybe for characters, but not so much hard models. I see you, Ed. So yeah. So that is how that's all ready to go. So I'm gonna just save that as version 1. It's very important to version, otherwise things get very messy, and I'm not going to say I'm good with that because I'm terrible really. Especially when we're getting close to updates and I'm working quite fast, things do get pretty hectic. You end up just calling everything Final 1, Final 2, Final 3. But last thing I forgot to do was actually build the map. So that's probably something we need to do. So we want a new screen. In Blender that's very easy, you can just pull it out and generate a new one. UV image map editor. So what I want here is I would like a new new image, and I want a color grid. And where is that color grid? Here. So you can see here we have A1, A8, H1, H8. It's just a grid reference. Smart UV project. This is just a default situation for unwrapping. Angle limit is basically 66 degrees. I think it will take into account the angle degrees of your model and calculate image based on that. Island margin is how separate you want those images to be on your map, and then area weight, I can't remember exactly what that one's for. There you go, weight projection affected by faces with large areas. We want the correct aspect ratio, and stretching EP bounds is fine, so okay. And now what it's done there is calculate exactly how this should look for us. One thing we don't want, wasted space. We can turn length off now because we don't need to know that anymore. We don't want this because no one ever sees this. And you can see over on the left there how much information that's taking on our map. So we can add more detail to the rest of the model. That can just be left blank. So I'll smart UV project that again. And now it's recalculated, and you will generally get more detail now. And now I also don't want that one. I want that all separate too. So I don't want the belt, I just want all of that. So we can smart UV project one more time, slight recalculation, slightly bigger. And if I put this into texture now, we can see all of that texture showing up, all of those letters. So good, looks good. And here you're looking for any deformities, looking at that grid, making sure it's not warped, making sure all the letters are readable. The actual direction doesn't matter too much. It will matter more on the belt. I think that's the right direction. So that all looks fine. And what you want to do now is we take this, we're going to shrink this, get that all in there. That size can be tiny, like a really tiny texture, and we can just move that in there. Oh, we've got something else, got to be careful with that. It is nabbing something else there. Okay, no. So I'll try and do it this way just to be sure I don't accidentally select something and move it, because that could be big trouble. See, I don't want that vertex point there. I do not want that one. Cool. And I mean, we can give it that much because the way our machine is, it's quite the graphics are quite inefficient here, really, because we've got all of this empty space here that could be used for more detail. But we should be fine. If you really wanted to, you could do different maps. You could do the paneling on one map and the outskirts of the paneling on another, which would give you more detail. In fact, let's give that a go. Might as well try it. So it'll be quicker to select the panels in this regard rather than the outsides, because we've already selected all of those. Regard situation, sorry. Don't know why I waffle random words when I'm working. So we could, for example, I think this may be better. Have all of this on one separate one. Actually, I'm not going to take that. Cool, and then we could just say panels, we can colour that different so we know what we're dealing with. Assign. Now we've got 3 materials there. And I'm going to just unwrap that like this again, and you'll see how much more space has been taken up now, so that's far more efficient. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to just quickly add that to a vertex group, I believe. Panels, because I don't want to have to keep selecting and deselecting, so I'm just going to assign that vertex group, deselect and select now. Cool, so what I can do now is just grab it all, get rid of our thing, deselect panels, and I've got the entire frame. Yes, apart from these bits. So it sped the process up slightly, but it saved us a lot of time there. There's just only a few more to grab, just to make sure it's all picked up correctly. Because we want to do another unwrap, so we need to make sure they're all accounted for. And we can add that to another vertex group so we can select that easily in the future if we need to. And that's nearly done now. Got that one. Done. Oh no, this one. I missed that one. But we can do the same again. We can add one. We can call that the frame. And we can assign. Well, I just spam it a little bit just to make sure it super picks up what I want. Deselect, select. There we go. So it's got it all now. So I can select up that, I can deselect that, switch it on and off. So that is a pretty comprehensive model now. We don't need to do our normal direction because we know that is okay. So what we're going to do now is select the frame. Very odd, it's selecting those as well. Deselect panels. I want frame selected. Oh, Blender, what are you doing to me? Just going to back up quickly because I think it's picked up something I didn't want, so I'm going to just quickly get to where I was and finish this off. Oh no, nightmare. Okay, right, let's quickly. I've somehow managed to mix them up. don't know how, but luckily the panels don't take too long. So I'm just going to deselect those. So I don't know how I've accidentally grouped them in together, but whatevs. Whatevs. There we go. Right. So I'm going to frame to assign. Cool. Okay. Got it all. Smart UV project done. Don't need the base. Cool, there we go. Now we have a square here. Where's our other square? I think it's this one. We don't want it smushed like that, so we're going to need to check. Oh, okay, that's not too bad. That square's somewhere else that we don't need to worry about. So that all looks okay, so great stuff. Frame's done. The paneling looks good. Deselect that. Yeah, we're good to go. And of course we want one for the belt as well. We'll just take that for now. Right, okay. There we go. Our machine is done. Save that. Export is an FBX file. So I'm going to call it V2 in case for whatever reason I need to go back. Hello, bro. Goofy0101. Hey, buddy. I remember, you know what, I remember when we were doing these streams at the beginning of Gunsmith, we had like 30-40 people watching. I thought I'd have a few more in lockdown. Everyone's forced to watch. Just making sure technical things are okay there. Right. Tools. This is Game Dev C. I have 400 games and 145 game tools. Where's the software? That's what we want. These are my 6 main boys. Substance Painter. And although this is a 3-year-old now, 3-year-old piece of software, it's still incredible. You can perform amazing things. So we want a new file, a new Unreal Engine 4 algorithmic, and select our mesh. Where do we save that? Or where do we export it even? D Gunsmith assets, D Gunsmith. There we go. Okay. Imported, that's now in our scene. And then you have to remember a whole new set of tools and hotkeys for this program. And now when we come into Substance Painter, now we've got some estimated lighting. I say estimated, it looks pretty good, almost bang on. It changes slightly when it goes into Unreal, but it's still good. So this takes about an hour, this process, maybe an hour and a half, if I don't stop. So what I will do is I'll bake textures, I'll bake all texture sets. Not expecting any issues here because we've made sure it's all good back in the previous program. But this would be the time when it would maybe pull something up. That's awesome. Nice. You're a free giveaway Keymaster. So that's a bit concerning here, this bit here. We'll see how it turns out. I'm thinking maybe there's a topology. This is all, topology is the construction of the model. So there might be a topology error there back in Blender. Before we start painting, I'll want to check that. And I think there may be. And there is. There is something wrong there that's causing that problem. Oh no, it should be okay. It's quite odd. We'll have to see how it paints, I guess. Got another one there. And now you can see here, if I turn certain things off, I just have the frame. This is the power of segmenting those materials, because you'll see what I can do now. The belt, the body, the panels. So what I can do now with the body, you can just get smart material. I use a clear coat metal for the vast majority of our machines. Still painted, I think it's called still painted clear coat. Body, bam, done. Panels. Panels done. Full Gordon Ramsay there, done. Base color of our metal can change. So we can now have different colors for different parts. And by putting in that effort at the beginning, this now pays off. But as you can see, it's picking up those issues there. That line and that line. I mean, they don't look terrible, but we want to do something about that because that's not right. And I don't know why that's doing that. And that's when it gets a bit annoying and finicky, because that texture looks fine. There's no problems here. Very strange. Don't know why that's artifacting like that, but it's very minor. Maybe we can do something about it at some other point. Yeah, I did see the Grey Silver Haze thing. He's been awesome. He's been doing a lot of coverage on our game. He's lined up for a bit because I think he's done quite a lot of it. But yeah, really cool. I think I'm going to leave those score lines in there because it's going to be hours and hours of work to find out why they are in there. And really, they don't look too bad anyway. So we can mask that up and give it a bit of illusion. It's not terrible. We have no problems anywhere else. It's probably because I haven't used the vertex maps before for a long time, so it might just be something to do with that. It may even be because of the weighting on the clear coat. Sometimes that can do it. The clear coat weighting here, the level sometimes. Where is the clear coat? There is a metallic contrast. Got to turn them on and off to find out which ones they are. Not that one. Oh, I've also got the wrong one. Body. Dust. There we go, so it's in there somewhere. So it might just be our actual weighting of our metallic levels. There we go, I think. Which sometimes can be not the dirt. Underpaint, it's in the underpaint somehow. Coating, whatever it's saying. Edge wear, there we go. So the wear level, there we go, that decreases. So when we put that wear up, it will start to go away now. So for some reason it's picking up edges there. Don't know why, but we can get rid of them. And ultimately, if it's still okay for the game, it looks fine to me, then we're good to go. So we've got a nice shine on that metal, and now we're into the painting process. What I like to do now, I have full control of the colour. What I'll probably do now, don't need to worry about the belt because we can do that in Unreal 4. I'll do on the panels a new layer, just like Photoshop. I'll call this my normal map. This is my normal detail, and now I'm going to start adding our little hatches and our panels. I'm just going to shut my window so we don't have to listen to the conversation of the neighbours and the dogs. Ugh. Right, yeah. So, get rid of all of that. Just want my normal. And here we go. Get rid of the brush. So I like to do a variation of all the panels. Holding down Control will. What do I want that set as? The angle. Zero. There we go. Size. I'll put that panel in there. Maybe a bit bigger. Perfect. So there's one panel, and that normal already adds so much detail, as you can see. And we'll be adding more detail to that soon. So I'll normally do all the paneling now. Start giving some hatches to the model. I don't like doing stuff like that because it looks too samey, so I might add one here and here if it works. Like that probably works because they look like they're the same panel. so that's okay. But when you can see them, and it's obvious that it's been used too many times, and I don't like to do that. I like to mix it up a bit. So that's probably enough for that type. And I'll get another separate panel again. Add maybe one on the left down here, one on the right down here. And same on this one, because this could be like a kind of double panel situation there, and that looks fine, that looks good. And we can add some smaller paneling here. And that also looks nice. We've got a tiny bit of bleed up there on that panel where the map's like blown through almost. You can see here where it's messed up the light, but if I just get my little eraser, we can fix that problem. And that's quite a normal occurrence to happen when you use a big brush. It's probably happened there too, as you can see on the right. And then there we go, we've done a few more panels, we're just neatening up. And then I like to usually panel these top ones too. Maybe I'm going to have to do a square on those because they're a square too. So that might be quite good. Yeah, that'll be perfect on there. Actually, they're a little bit rectangular, aren't they? Tiny bit less. That's looking really nice now. Pop another one in there. I think I'll take one down here too. And really I just start to put these in places where it would be handy to have an access panel on the machine, so it's just building that immersion that you can access the machine. It's got its own problems it can have and it needs to be maintained. So I'll try and dart these around wherever I think there would be componentry. Like this probably would always be the big ones on the base, so you can get there as an engineer. So I do quite big ones on the base here. For example, if you had to get to the belt. Just for quick access really. Nice, and then yeah, I think we do need a few more, but now I'm not going to keep repeating these same ones because it will just get too samey. So they've done a decent job for me, but now we're going to go into the fine normal details. So what I'm going to do is now, instead of just the images, I'm going to actually get a brush and I'm going to custom paint these. And I will... Okay, so now we want a height. I want that quite a deep minus on the height. I don't want normal on this right here, and I don't want colour. Actually, I do want colour. I want the colour to be quite dark. So what we've got now is we've got a brush that is going to draw our own custom lines, and they should be deep like that. See, size all the way down, because we just want to do dark, almost metal, dark metal trenches where the panels would be, and I'll show you what I mean by this. So even darker than that, probably. Perfect. So you can do straight lines in Substance by holding Shift and Control, and there we go. And now this is how I do the super detailing of the panels. Start creating our own custom panels for this machine. And this bit is more intricate, and we still have the actual painting process that will need to take place as well. Want that one up a tiny bit more. I mean, I guess this is all painting, but just adding colours and text and messages to the machine to give it the warnings that I usually give it. And what I can do, and what I do sometimes, I'll just whip this all the way down and double panel it. Sometimes you can then send another one across here, and you can like quad panel it, and that looks quite nice too. Just to add those striking lines in there. So this is the detail that I go into to make each machine. This is the full process, and they come out quite nicely if we put the effort in. But you imagine doing like 30 of these. It just gets pretty I mean, I like doing each one because they've all got a job to do, and it's nice to give each one a unique characteristic. But you do burn out. You can't do this forever. It's something you have to have a break from now and then. So I try and mix it up, do a bit of game user interface, do some machines, check out the store page, make that look a bit better. We recently just revamped that part of the store page, the game about us, about the game, sorry. There we go. Right, those panels are done. Yeah, I usually will do the maybe we'll do the tiny bit bigger here. Yeah, lovely. That's perfect for that. So all of our panelling is getting there now. It's got a very Cybertruck vibe to it. Do this one. All right. So now I just repeat this process until every panel is done. And sometimes you just think, why did I add so many panels? Because I actually want to just jump out the window. Believe me, the more detail I add, the better it always looks in the end. So as much as I regret it at the time, after I get through it and it's all done, it always pays off. same on this one. We're finally getting there. Like I say, this is just quite a zen process, really. You know, just got to get on with it, and you'll be fine. I do remember when I was at university, we always used to, well, I never found it too much of a pain, but there always used to be this thing around UV unwrapping, which is what we did earlier with the mapping of the texture, and how boring it was, how much it sucked, and we didn't want to do it, and it's not fun, and it takes ages. But it doesn't really take ages anymore. I don't know if it really used to, but I don't find it too much. Even manually doing it, I don't find it too much for a chore, really. I don't know what everyone's problem was about, really. I didn't do 3D modelling at university. I chose not to do it, and then I learned it after I left. This industry is one of these things where you always need to pick up new stuff and always be improving, because it moves very quickly, but mostly for the good, really, because the better even, because things get a lot easier, and people that are making good tools are the most important people ever. Like Substance Painter is a great tool, and it really helps. Alright, finally getting nearly finished on this. I think we still have to do the top. Oh no, I did the top a minute ago, which is good. Hello. My partner is back now. Yeah, I'm okay. Just doing a stream at the moment. Just doing a stream. That's alright. I'll back in 2 seconds, guys. How'd it go? Yeah, if there's some going. Oh, awesome, thank you. Okay, I'm back. That is the lockdown life. Alright, I'm just going to get rid of that bit. Yeah, okay, now I'm pretty happy with that now. We've done it all the custom panels. I'm just going to get rid of some of the artifacts that have cropped up. New layer, and then I'm going to use this thing called the tools and the screw bolt, and I use a bolt. And then I'm going to move this down. So about that big. And now I'm going to bolt each panel into place. So it looks like that. What I'm going to do is I methodically move left to right on each panel so I don't miss any. And then again, this is just like did the other lines. Adding that detail and just giving all the panels purpose and a bit of life, really, so you can tell what it's for, how big it is. It can all come off, sort of thing, if it needs to, and it just builds that environment and that picture. And then you start to think, oh, actually, look, this is a machine that could be taken apart and maintenance can be performed on it. It has several moving parts, and what was a minute ago just a blank piece of metal is now becoming a machine with a complex system of metal panels and components. And let's redo that one. And that's how you bring it to life. And then after this, after the bolts are done, I will then start the paint work, the actual custom brush paint work. So look, there you go. That looks much nicer. For some bigger panels, I might add a third one here, because that helps, just to hold it all in place. And then just a few panels here as if you've screwed the door shut, and then that one's done. And then I'll repeat the same process on the back now. So 1, 2, 4, and I'll add in a few more panels here. It's important not to rush these, because there we go. Yeah, if you rush it and then don't look good on the machine, it'll make it look like you have hand painted screws and bolts instead of them being part of the machine. Luckily I can do it quite quickly now because I'm very used to doing this, and I can spot bad ones fairly quick. There we go. And screwed shut. Do the same on this. 1, 2, 3, 4, and make this the same as the other one, because these are two of the same maintenance panels. And then away we go. Sorted. We did those on the side. Then 4 over here. That panel's done. Now we're really getting there. Right. And after the, yeah, like I say, after these screws are done, I'll then start doing some paint work. Check in a few bits. And put some these are quite big panels, so I'll do a third on each of those. And this is the laborious task of adding bolts to your machines. All hand painted in Gunsmith. We could use procedural textures, I guess, for some things, and we do use some Unreal Engine based textures that help us tile, like the belt, which will be going in later, because it's just much smarter doing it that way, much more efficient. Right, we've almost done all the sides. Awesome. Okay, and now time for the top. Start finishing touches now for the bolts. I always put the bolts on a separate layer because otherwise, if I made a mistake, it's actually going to trigger me. If I've because this is still just a normal at the end of the day, so if I paint over anything, it will be a problem. Right. Can add a third row to this. And then soon we will have our bolts done. Oh my god, here we go. Getting close. Done. Happy days. And now we can see sorry. Just going to add a few to the body. Yeah, I'm just going to add some to the frame. Actually, that looks okay. I'll leave those for now. So that's absolutely great first pass. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start to paint, do some custom brushwork. Can't believe I've got a bot. How can you even... I love how I'm buying followers. I don't know if that's embarrassing or something like that. I've got a bot coming to my channel saying spend money to become popular because no one's watching your stream. Oh goody. Okay, so on the body now, I want panels. There we go. I'm going to start to paint. Make sure it's all right. Oh, one sec, guys. Yeah. Sorry, I'm back. Right. So, yeah, now what I do is start doing our painting. There you go, just like that. But we want to get rid of this angle jitter. I don't know why it's on by default, it's really annoying. So now I'll put this everywhere where someone could get their hand ripped off. Oh, that's on a different section, so usually what I do is I put that on the upper parts and lower parts, so I'll put it on the body first. So yeah, there we go. They're the two main areas. I'll put something on here too. In fact, I'm going to make that one. You know what, actually I'm going to start, because this has a different purpose, this boxer, which will become clear later. I'm going to do this in orange and not yellow. So yeah, just going to do an orange for this one. There we go. Nice. Okay. Okay, cool. Very happy with that. And I might just do a 90 actually there. Alright, there we go. Angle's changed again. No, it hasn't. Cool. Really happy with that. Okay, back to yellow. I'm gonna add my cautions now. They can be a 0. Much bigger. Let's have more orange in there. And now I want the panels. There we go. I'm very liberal with these. I had quite a lot of them. the trappy handsy. So anywhere you get traps. So on panels that might be quite large, or you can access and whack your hands in, I'll put one of those up there. Usually will do one on there, and then I do its electrical supply. So anywhere where there's going to be electrical components, I'll usually add one on the smaller panels. Is usually where I do a lot of electrical. It's a little bit bigger. And we are very close to being finished on our new machine. I think we just do a few more bits. Maybe we'll do a couple more handsy trapsies on these ones. And then what I will usually do is put a bit of text on there too. We'll just add a cutty handy for this machine's going to do a tiny bit of cutting as well. And then that is pretty much it. We are pretty much done. So there we go. Oh no, there's one last thing, which is now the very final touches. I will get a brush, soft brush, and then I'm just going to get a grey, very bright, and metallic. So this is what I do now. Is one last thing. I will chrome these bars. I want that to be a bit better, so more metallic. There we go. So now it looks like there's actually a chrome bar in there as well. So I chrome all the bars as well. And just give that normal map some life. Almost forgot that one too. No bars on the top. Oh no, that one. And there you go. Complete. I think just as one last thing, I will add just one more bit of text. Oh, we've also got the metallic on there. We don't want that to be metallic at all. We just want that to be paint. So there we go. And lovely. Actually, we do hand trappy, seeing as that's a rolly part. Nice. And that is one new machine ready to go. So anyone catching up and watching this, feel free to I don't know, like and subscribe and smash all those buttons as you're told to. But yeah, hopefully you found that insightful. I'm going to go ahead and get some lunch now, and that is one Gunsmith machine from scratch to finish. 2 hours, not bad. And now that would just be saved and exported, and then we're done. Yeah. Well, that's my lunch, guys. So whoever's watching, I know I have a extreme audience count right now of 2, and a max audience count of like 5 or 6. But if anyone else is going to watch this, hope you enjoy how we make stuff for Gunsmith. Take care, and have a good day. Stay safe. See ya.